Good afternoon, everyone. It's always very fun to listen to other people reading out my full affiliation. Okay, so today I'm going to tell you about my research, which is trying to work on how AI can help biomarker discovery to understand neurodegenerative conditions. So there are many different kinds of neurodegenerative conditions. They all represent different kinds of stage of neurodegeneration. For example, Alzheimer and dementia. And in some other part of research, we have also found out that these conditions have shared brain characteristics, shared behavioral pattern, and even sometimes they have like a overlap with our aging process. And in at the other end of the spectrum, the neurodevelopmental conditions, we also see similar kinds of pattern. There are shared behavioral characteristics, shared brain pattern, and even shared genetic expression. So in my study, I want to know if we try to understand all these conditions as a spectrum, can we have a better biomarker to understand all these conditions and even understand the progression of disease? In order to understand the data, we want to use a model that can actually learn the brain feature efficiently. So we use a graph convolution model as the base to understand the brain. Because in neuroscience, we often try to understand how brain regions correlate with each other to see if the activity of different regions are associated with each other. And we try to use this model to predict future signals to understand if these features we learn through this graph can accurately represent what the brain signal looks like. Yeah, so we have a lot of data set. And one thing we think about how to combine all these many data sets is to use a foundation model. So we are going to combine all of the data set from neurodegenerative to neurodevelopmental conditions to some lifespan data to represent natural aging. And we will use the graph convolution autoregressive model to train our foundation model. In this foundation model, we hope that will predict a various type of downstream tasks. For example, use the feature we extract in the foundation model to predict age, to predict sex of the subjects, and eventually we can do this on diagnostics. So as the first part of our experiment, we just want to know if our hypothesis of using this model is actually useful and how much data do we actually need to train a reliable model. So this is a very preliminary experiment that we choose the same model architecture but with two different levels complexity of the model. So here you can see there's the orange model which explains how the brain signal fits the original data better than the blue model. And we use the features we learn in this model to predict sex in the downstream task, simply because that's the easiest label that we can access for now. And we can see that the orange model is doing better than the blue model on the right-hand side of the graph. And this is really promising because this is our first experiment. We are confident that just with a very basic model, we can see some improvement of downstream task prediction. So we can further our experiment to add in more data set and also further fine-tune the hyperparameters. So this is what we learned so far. The model complexity of a graph convolution network can translate to downstream sex prediction accuracy. And for the next part of the project, I will do some hyperparameter tuning to find out what is a better model. And we will try to predict other parameters such as age and diagnostics. And also, because transformer is trendy right now, why not put this into our mix? Instead of using a normal multi-layer perceptron to do the autoregressive part, we are going to use convolutional neural network plus a transformer for the autoregressive model. So yeah, that is my presentation, and thank you for your time.